Hey, hi everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Running Tip Tuesdays with myself, Coach Kayla. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic week and I hope it is better than mine is going. For those that are following my journey as well, probably have seen that my hip is not feeling that great. So we're hoping to work with a chiro or a physical therapy, but just sending a reminder to everybody to, make sure to have those routine visits. And it's so important to have a chiropractor, a physical therapist, and a nutritionist as part of your team as an athlete. Even if you're an everyday athlete, I firmly believe that it is really important that we have these people in our back pockets that we can call when something does happen, or really just for routine maintenance. Just like your body, you want to think of it as a car. Your body needs routine maintenance as well. So we need to be keeping up on these things. And I know life gets busy, especially as an everyday athlete when running is not your full time job. It's not always easy doing all these other little things that we need to do in addition to running to keep us healthy. But I just want to say it is so important to do that. So just sending that reminder today, but I do hope everybody's having a good start to their week and happy March as well. It is probably one of my favorite months. March is one of my favorite months because and it might seem kind of selfish a little bit, but March is my birthday month. It's also National Nutrition Month. And we do a lot of talking about nutrition and focus on nutrition. Also, RDN Day, which is a day to just celebrate registered dietitians. And then as well, March is when it's spring and when it finally starts to get a little bit warmer. For those that know me, I used to live in Florida, so I'm not a big fan of the cold, even though I grew up in upstate New York. But I'm always excited to just have the change of seasons. I just really like also those change of seasons. As well. So anyways, it is March, which makes me super excited. So even though I'm having this hip pain going on right now, I am just staying positive as I possibly can be, and just so thankful for everything that I do have and everything. And you guys, I appreciate you guys so much for being part of this community. It's an amazing community, and I'm just so grateful to have you guys here and for you to trust me in the knowledge that I have to share and talking about something that is, so that I am so passionate about. Being able to do it and just having a platform to do this is also amazing. So just want to say that. So anyways, let's get started for today. We're going to be talking about, so I named this topic today, tips for fueling as a plant-based runner. But I actually really want to focus on meeting those foundational needs. So we're going to talk about fueling and how to do that, but I really want to focus this on really those that are new plant-based runners. I feel like we've gotten a lot of new people here and in this audience, and the conversations that I have had with people, they're fairly new to plant-based as a runner. So I really want to really start there and kind of focus on what should you be focused on, what are the things that you can be doing, and which you should be doing in the beginning, because it's not going to be perfect and there's so much to take into consideration, because you're not just trying to eat more plant foods, but you're also want to make sure you're fueling. So I want to talk about that a little bit here and take the time to do that and talk about how we can build our base. So really how we build our base miles in the beginning of a training cycle, we also want to do the same thing with our nutrition. So I want to talk about that today. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And if you are new here, I do go live using StreamYard. So you should see a link above me. If you guys are live and you can click that link above, that would be awesome. And just that allows your name to show up. Or what you can do is as well, comment below, say hi, say hello. I want to know you guys are here with me live. And you can just type in your name and where you're from. That is perfectly fine as well. But you can click that link above. So, all right. Are we ready to get into it today? Enough jibber jabbing. As you guys can see, I've Had a lot of actually patient client calls canceled today. So I guess I have a lot to say, a lot to talk about today because I didn't get to talk so much today as I normally do. All right. So let's get into it. So, foundational needs. What is that? What am I talking about? Well, I first want to start with running because I feel like most of you can understand that concept, right? Most of you are runners. Um, and kind of have been running. So I don't think anyone's really new to running, but certainly if you are, this is where you want to start as well. You want to build a base. So we want to build base miles. And what that means is when I'm planning out a specific training plan for somebody that wants to run let's just say half or full marathon, what we focus on is first that 4 to 6 week is building those base miles. So that is anywhere to really building up, or what I like you to be those base miles. As ideally, I like you to be running consistently, at least probably 3 to 4 days a week, and 25 to 30 miles is a really good place to kind of start. Obviously, if you are starting from like a couch to five, the couch, that's why couch to 5K program is good, and then kind of lead into this. But that's really where I want you guys to be able to do before we really get into really training. So that's where I start people off, is really getting them consistent running that much. And as I said, for some people, I want you to be able to do that for at least 4 to 6 weeks, but for some people, you may not be there yet. And that's why, working with a coach and having a personalized training plan is really important, because you may not be there yet, and that's okay. But just like I want you guys to build, where we want to build those miles as our base, we also want to do the same thing with our nutrition. So we want to start building that base. And it's so important that we make sure we're just meeting those foundational needs, which are your total energy needs you need at your base mileage. So at that, 25 to 30 consistent miles that you're doing without really much speed work or really, really long runs, that is what your foundational needs are going to be based on. And these are going to change as your training picks up, as the endurance gets longer, long runs get longer, as your speed workouts, do more speed workouts, and your intensity gets more intense, your needs are going to change. But this is why we don't worry about that yet. We really start with just the foundational needs. And I don't even want you guys to really worry so much about the types of foods either. I want you to just be able to meet those calories. Of course, this is where we're going to encourage you to eat more plants when you can. But I really just want you to really just try to meet those calorie needs. That is what's most important. And kind of as you go through this process, we're going to talk about, right? We would talk about how to meet those needs, but switching and swapping things with more plant-based foods or whole foods. But I really just want you guys to meet those calories any way you can. So that's really the focus of meeting those foundational needs. And just some tips I wanted to give you guys on this is, if you don't know how to figure out what those foundational needs are, there is a BMR calculator that I use a lot. This is a lot easier than calculating and figuring out kind of the formula and everything. So you can go to the BMR calculator online. If you Google BMR calculator, you should be able to find it. Or you can just reach out to me and I can let you know as well. And then you're going to also use your activity level. As I said, for this, you want to use that base mileage, so as your activity level, to figure out your foundational needs. And then what you want to do is you want to figure out if you're meeting those needs already. If you're meeting those calorie needs. If you're not, we need to figure out how can we do that. So how you can do that is to track in some way. And I say that very loosely, because tracking, I've always had this kind of love-hate relationship with, and kind of even unsure if I should have my clients do this because of past disordered eating. I'm very aware of that, especially in plant-based athletes. It just seems to come up a lot. But I do believe we need to be tracking in some way, especially if you're not working with a nutrition professional like myself. If you're not working with a sports dietitian. So we really need to track in some way. So, my fitness pal, chronometer, using exchanges, which is what I give clients, and actually a lot of my past disordered eating clients. That's what we use exchanges. And that just seems to work better in tracking that rather than calories. So there's ways to do this and ways to track without necessarily tracking in the original way, as in tracking calories, if that's not something you want to do. Also, that's the value of having a coach like myself. I can do all that for you, and I can look at your food journals and give you feedback, and really calculate and kind of figure out how much you are eating and if we need to increase more. If you're really like, I just have no idea. So that's that as well. Also, some tips I want to give you to, if you're struggling to just meet these foundational needs, is make sure you're meal planning and prepping. I probably talk about this so much. It's probably the thing that I talk about the most, but it's so important to make sure to meal plan and prep. And this is going to really help you to meet those needs, especially if you want to be plant-based and eat more plant-based foods. We really need to make sure we're planning out those meals and prepping them ahead of time if we're really busy or have a lot going on during our week. And then number two would be making sure to include, 2 to 3 food combinations or food groups for snacks, or 3 to 4, I think it's actually 4 to 5 food combinations or groups at meals. So this can be really helpful to just remember to try to get all those food combinations in, because that really helps you to meet the calorie needs that you need to. Because what I see is so many clients, they'll eat a snack, but they'll just eat an apple. And an apple doesn't have that many calories, right? Maybe we're getting 100 calories. So we want to up that to at least 300 calories. So let's add peanut butter, let's add granola, let's add other things to really make it a substantial snack. So it doesn't have to be this, big bowl of, a bowl of, 5 times a day of all these veggies and quinoa and all this stuff. But we really need to make sure we're including other food groups um, in each snack and meal time. So I find that's really helpful for people to just remember that. Also, trying to eat often. And the more your training load increases, the more you're going to eat. Especially when you get more into that ultra running, obviously you're going to be eating a lot more. But this is the time, when you're a new plant-based runner, this is the time, in the beginning of the phases here, really in the beginning, you really need to just start getting into the habit. So this is all about just getting in the habit of eating often, and just being okay with that, and just kind of getting in that habit and that routine. So this is really, this is time to focus on that. And then tracking, oh yeah, tracking in some way was the other tip, which I talked about. So those are my biggest tips for really meeting those foundational needs and starting to build that base, as you're starting a new training cycle. So number one, meal plan and prep. Number two, make sure to include 2 to 3 food combinations at snacks or food groups, and 4 to 5 food combinations or food groups at meals. And then number 4 was eat often. And the next one was tracking in some way. So those are all ways that we can really help us to meet those needs. And again, it's just so important that we really establish just getting to those calories, meeting those needs first before really kind of really focusing and dialing in to introducing more plant-based foods. But of course, too, if you want to include those plant-based foods, start doing that. You certainly can start doing that as well, and just trying to swap out, lean proteins for beans, or so you could swap out your red meat for an impossible burger, or you could swap out a piece of chicken for a piece of tofu, that sort of thing. So you can certainly start making those swaps, but as I said, just really focusing on getting those calories, is energy needs, is where we want to do the most focus on when it comes to really just meeting those foundational needs, especially if you're in the beginning of a training block going into it. So yeah, so those would be my tips. And just some announcements. Oh, first, before I get to any announcements, does anyone have any questions that's live here? Okay. All right. No problem. I don't see any questions, but of course, if anybody has any questions, like always, you guys feel free to message me. Seriously, I love getting questions. I love helping people, love talking about plant-based running. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. Just some announcements because there's so much going on this month. Hopefully, you guys all did receive my newsletter, so you guys know what's going on this week. This week certainly is a busy week. We've got podcast interviews. We have lots of lives. So a lot of lives this week going on this week. And then I also announced that for National Nutrition Month, what I decided that I really want to do, because it's all around eating cultural foods, is to give you guys recipes and meal ideas for plant-based recipes from around the world. So if you guys are interested in receiving those meal ideas and recipes, I'll be giving them out every Sunday. I'll be releasing them. So if you want them and want them directly emailed to you in your inbox, I can do that. I have a link that I'll post below for you guys to sign up if you are interested in receiving those meal ideas and recipes from. And as I said, they're going to be all plant-based. Most of them are also gluten-free and just from, meals from around the world. And I really just show you some new ideas and things to continue to just increase variety, which I think is so important and goes along with our theme of National Nutrition Month. And then my second announcement is my workshop. So if you did not see already, I am doing another 3-day workshop, March 14th to March 16th. This is a workshop that I don't offer a lot, maybe a couple times a year. So if you are interested, I would love to have you in our workshop. We're going to be talking about how to fuel as a plant-based runner. So it'll be 3 days with me for an hour each day, really diving deeper into these things that I'm already talked about today. I believe this will be what we're talking about today is actually going to be one day. We're going to spend 1 hour on really talking more about meeting your foundational needs and where you want to start when you're starting a training cycle. So I hope you guys join us. March 14th to 16th. We're going to have lots of fun. So you guys should sign up. So I will post the link below if you guys are interested in signing up for that. And I do hope I see you guys live. But of course, the replays will be available for 24 hours, or you can purchase the course or the class or the workshop as well if you want to watch it on your time and not able to watch it in 24 hours. So that's how that'll work. But if you do want to save your seat, as I said, I'll post the link below and you guys can sign up to save your seat. Other than that, that's all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we will see you next time. Keep running and eating plants. Bye.